Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my...
Alright, hey honey buns, welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time here ever, welcome for the first time. My name is Meela Vanderbuilt, and today we are going to be talking about streaming. So a lot of the times I'm on this channel, I'm just streaming content, either Second Life, GTA, Dead by Daylight, or just randomness. Sometimes I do interviews with creators in the virtual space, but I really wanted to transition into creating these videos that kind of share some of the expertise I've just learned along the way. I think one of the things I'm really passionate about is just like diving in and figuring it out, and then like sharing what I learned in a sense. But I started as strictly a Second Life channel. I was streaming, I wasn't on camera, and I was just exploring and just doing things that I thought was fun and sharing that with different people. And now, since I've been on camera now for a year, and it's been a completely different experience, and I've learned so many different things from both of those journeys. In this video, I want to talk about 5 reasons I think that you should start streaming, and then 5 tips that I would give to anyone thinking about jumping in right now. As I create more videos and as the series goes along, of course, I want to show you all the things that I know, all the gear that I bought, all the programs that you need to stream, some tips on how to set things up, like of course all of those details. But I thought this would be a good start for anyone who just may need that extra push, that person that may need a sign like it's time to start streaming right now. And hopefully this is your sign, because I genuinely think that absolutely everyone who's had even the faintest of curiosities about streaming should start. If you need a sign, this is your sign. Let's dive into 5 reasons that I think you should start streaming right now. I hope this angle like isn't super weird. It feels a little weird. But anyway, reason number 1 I think you should start right now is you don't want to miss this wave. I think we're entering a time where, well, we have already entered a time where people are more comfortable doing things online. We're more connected virtually. You know, there's all this talk of the metaverse. People are really intrigued and interested in online projects. So one, if you're in a virtual world that's like Second Life, which has been calling itself, you know, the metaverse for years, I guess it technically is a metaverse. But this is just a really good opportunity to pique people's interest and connect with people that you'd have never found otherwise. And I think it's a really good opportunity to experience growth in a way that you may not have before. You know, even with the rise of apps like TikTok and, you know, what folks over at Instagram are trying to do right now, I think this is just an opportunity where people are getting more comfortable with sharing parts of their personality, sharing their interests, sharing what they're passionate about online, and connecting with different audiences from around the world. And I think there's just a lot of potential to grow faster now than you may have before, which sounds crazy because you're like, you know, all these people are getting into streaming and content creation and sharing things all at once. How am I ever going to find my audience? But I think, you know, we're just more eager. We're consuming content in a way that is even more intense than we were a few years ago. You know, even when I look at myself and the amount of time that I spend when I'm just like chilling out with nothing to do, I'm watching YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram Reels way more than I'm even watching Netflix and Hulu right now. And, you know, that's not just me. This is just a point in time where creating content is just kind of really in demand, and there's really a market for absolutely anything you can think of. I remember like years ago when Vine first came out, and I remember wanting to like get into Vine but being way too shy to get on camera. And you know, when like all those Vine stars blew up and people started to go to YouTube and all of that kind of stuff, I was like, wow, I really feel like I missed out on this Vine wave. And I remember thinking the same when like TikTok came back around and started taking off, and I still hadn't been on TikTok. I was like, oh shit, I missed another wave. But I think we're just still in it, and you just have so many opportunities to build an audience and connect with people. So I think it's just a good time right now to get into it. So, you know, when we're a couple years in and there's just all this traction in these spaces, you'll already be in it. You'll already be comfortable. You'll kind of know what you're doing, and don't even worry about like knowing what you're doing from the beginning. You're gonna figure stuff out along the way. Also, I know everyone doesn't stream gaming content or, you know, virtual worlds or anything like that. I've seen people like stream cooking shows. I've seen people stream astrology stuff, or just like just chatting things. I know just chatting is a huge category on Twitch. I haven't really seen much of that on YouTube, but like literally anything. I talk so much about gaming and virtual worlds because that's what I do, but you know, People just want to be all up in your life. I literally the other day was watching the YouTube compilation of someone's TikToks of them just delivering Uber Eats. I watched that for hours. Like literally anything that's a part of your life, people are going to be interested in watching. The second reason that I think streaming is hugely beneficial, if you have any sort of project or endeavor or other thing that you're passionate about, if you have a business, if you have something that you want to bring attention to, I think streaming is a great way to do it. So for me, for example, I've always created these different spaces in Second Life. I found streaming to be so useful in just showing people how to really utilize whatever my project is, like through my eyes. So I was really able to translate what my vision was by showing people exactly, you know, how it was made and what it's for and what the use is. So I think it's a really good opportunity, one, for you to help your potential customer or market know or get to know you a little more, so they know the story behind whatever the brand is or whatever the project is. But it's also a really good opportunity for you to kind of show the lifestyle that's associated with it. And I've seen, you know, I watch a lot of streams where I actually watch one streamer named Diana Gladley. If you need to like get into streaming, you're trying to figure out gear, she's got so many great tips, so go check her out for sure. I learned so much from her channel, and she has a business and coaching, and a lot of the people that watch her channel actually have businesses that are similar. It was funny because her tips are so broad that I don't even think she realizes like how I'm applying this to gaming. Like the same tips that she's giving to business owners, I'm applying to gaming, and it's still working. So I think it's just you just have such a powerful tool here. So really just utilize it. And then I would say, so point three, my third reason that I think you should start a channel is you have some sort of special story to tell. You have a particular outlook, opinion, a story, a style, something that can connect you with other people and that people can really relate to, be inspired by, just have that sense of relatability. I remember thinking that there was just such a weird stereotype and expectation of who like SL players were, or you know, all of this. And I knew like since I've been playing, I didn't necessarily fit any of those stereotypes. I didn't fit any of those boxes. And I was like, I really just kind of want to show who I am and just show like there are so many different people that are into this. And like I'm just one example of why people shouldn't make these weird assumptions about SL or what we do there. And I feel like, you know, as I shared more of myself, I was meeting a lot of people or connecting with a lot of people in my community that started to feel more comfortable sharing themselves. You know, it was just something that wasn't entirely normal in SL. Like people didn't even like sharing behind the avatar pictures. I remember when I first started, I used to always see those Facebook posts of people being annoyed that people were even sharing pictures of themselves and opening up that way. So just remember, like there's something very special about whatever your interest is that's going to connect you to a lot of people. And bitch, I lost it. We'll edit that out. Fourth reason I think you should start streaming, and I've been very specific to say streaming because streaming is very different than creating videos. It's very different from what I'm doing right now. This is very new for me. So who knows how this video is gonna come out. I don't do this often. No promises that it'll be good. But this is a good first step into content creation. Like I don't wanna like write it off like it's easy. It definitely isn't. There's a lot of work that you put into it. A lot of work before and after a stream that I think, you know, people don't always realize, because, you know, especially if you're streaming on YouTube or if you're streaming for a short period of time, people are like, it's only an hour out of your day. But you'll notice when you start streaming that that 1 hour stream has like an additional 5 or 6 hours of prep work somehow. So it's not that it's easier, but if you're looking for a way to get into content creation, to one, just learn how to be disciplined, learn the platforms that you're on. Streaming is a great way because at the end of the day, you're doing it live. You don't have to go back and edit a video. You don't have to like figure all this stuff out. You could literally hit go live and just start. And I found that extremely useful in the beginning, especially because for whatever reason in the beginning, I was so shy to even share that I was streaming. I didn't want to tell anyone. Like granted, my close friends knew, no one in my real life knew, but I wasn't like sharing it on Facebook. I wasn't posting it to a bunch of places to do marketing. I wasn't doing anything. I just literally was like, hey, this is what I'm doing in my life right now. I'm gonna hit go live. I was streaming on YouTube. So YouTube's gonna create a video on demand for me. That's gonna live on YouTube and do whatever it needs to do while I'm figuring things out. The more I did it, the more disciplined I got. So then I was able to start figuring out what my schedule looked like, what was feasible. I started creating a routine, like how I wanted to present myself on camera. I started learning more about YouTube. I was spending so much time just researching and watching other YouTubers who kind of talk about this space. Because I was streaming, I was still creating content, but it was giving me so much time to really learn as much as I could, because I wasn't going back to spend, you know, however much. First of all, it takes me forever to edit a video. I don't know if I'm just slow or if I haven't quite figured it out. Maybe I need to do some more studying, but I didn't have to go back and edit a video to then publish, to then connect with my audience. I was just hitting go live. And I think if you're interested in getting into content creation, these tools where you can immediately create content are super useful. So going live and streaming is just such a powerful way to get into content creation. And then last but not least, it wouldn't be me if I didn't talk about money. It is a great way to make passive income even early on. Before I even got monetized on YouTube, I had already started with affiliate marketing, and that was just me signing up for sites like CJ.com, signing up for Amazon influencer program, and being really smart about what I wanted to recommend and how it could tie into what I was doing. It was just useful. So before I even monetized, I was getting sales that way, and I was able to use those links in my YouTube videos. I was using them in my Instagram bio. I was using them on Facebook. I had a blog at the time. I was putting them there. So there was a way to generate passive income early on. And I'm so happy I did it that way, because I was able to use the money from all of that to start funding or investing further into this hobby. One thing I have to tell you from the beginning, I know this is an advice moment, but this is not what I have written down for my 5 tips. Streaming can get expensive because it's like, I don't know, it's like being a kid in a candy store. There are all these cool tools and tech and gadgets and things that you want or that can really enhance your stream, and it's so addictive to continue to buy them. So early on, I went out of control, but luckily I was making enough from affiliate marketing that I could actually, you know, buy new ring lights or soft boxes or tripods or all these little things that would have ended up really adding up. And then of course you're monetized. And the great thing about, I think, streaming on YouTube, so I know Twitch is where like gaming streamers go. There are features that I've found on Twitch. I'm brand new on Twitch. I only started a few months ago, but there are features on Twitch that blow YouTube out of the box. But the great thing about YouTube is you really do have the ability to earn some passive income. So, you know, there are things that you can work on. Of course, we'll talk about all these eventually, but, you know, YouTube, once you finish streaming, that is a video that will behave just like any other YouTube video. It'll end up in an algorithm. It'll be pushed to people that YouTube wants to see your content, and the more you're consistent, the better your click-through rate is. So your thumbnails and your titles, like all of these things that kind of help YouTube feed your content to people, the better you get at that, which you're naturally going to do, the better your content's going to do, and the better your content does, the more money you make. So it's a great way to just earn money. And then the one thing, if you are deciding to do gaming streaming, you get memberships a lot earlier than I think most other channels. So there are just so many ways to monetize. It's a nice way to make some passive income, especially if it's a hobby that you're giving a couple hours to here and there as you get started. It could really lead to something that can send you on a couple of vacations or something. All right, so those are my 5 reasons I think you should get into streaming right now, like literally right now. And here are just 5 tips that I would recommend. These are things that I wish I did. Things that if I were to start over right now, I would do. My first tip would be to just start. I am that person who is a ridiculous over planner. Like, I plan to make plans, and I always find myself in a position where I'm just continuing to push off whatever it is that I want to do. Or, you know, by the time I've like planned excessively, I kind of lost my passion for whatever it is. The great thing about streaming is, again, you can just start. There are so many tools. We'll talk about how to actually literally start. Just start now. Like, don't continue to plan. Don't wait. Don't think that you have to learn anything. Don't try to figure out like everything you need first. Like, don't think about anything. Just start. When I started on YouTube, I literally was streaming from my little laptop. I didn't have a camera. I didn't have a desk set up. So I was on my laptop at my dining room table. and I just started streaming, and that is literally all you need. Don't even plan it. Like I didn't even know how to make it work. Granted, YouTube has gotten a lot easier with streaming, so it's so easy to just get started. But back then I didn't even know like what buttons to press. I didn't know where to go. I was like Googling things as I did it. But you really just have to rip the band-aid off and do it. And I know there are so many like what ifs, like what if no one shows up? Like how do I even get people to see it? Like what do I name it? What do I put in tags? What do I put in description? Like how do I do this? It really doesn't matter. Just get started and you will learn and get better along the way. Like this is literally a muscle that grows with you, and just the more you do it, the better you get. I've left up so many of my early streams that are absolute garbage. Some of them I had to take down because they like broke all sorts of YouTube rules, like in terms of copyright music and some of the content that I was showing on the games. So but that kind of stuff I learned from YouTube will let you know what's going on. And even now I still feel like I'm just so new at this and there's so much to learn and then I'm trying to figure out still. So you're never going to get to a point where you think you're an expert. I think you're always going to think there's something that you need to figure out. So just get started and learn along the way, because if you continue to wait until you think you're an expert at it, you will never start. I've been doing this for 2 years and I still don't think I know what I'm doing. So just jump in. My other tip, because this is the question I get all the time, and this is what people ask me in comments. Every time I say what questions you guys have, you guys DM me this. People always want to know, like, what do you do when there's no one in your stream? Like, you are live and you're expected to kind of be the entertainer, and that's so challenging in a way. And I remember, I mean, I don't remember, to be honest, I don't remember what I was doing my first couple of streams or who was showing up. You know, I think I asked friends, but like I told you, I was that weird person that didn't want to tell anyone that I was streaming. I think it may have been the people that I was with were the ones watching the stream. So luckily I had people in the game or in the world to actually talk to, but you don't want to be like the silent streamer. Like people, a lot of times people tune in to hear your perspective or get to know your personality. And sometimes, especially if you're streaming on YouTube, they're not going to see that until after you get off the stream. So I know it's super awkward and challenging. I've experienced this on Twitch because when I started on Twitch, of course, I'm brand new on Twitch. I don't have that big of a following over on Twitch. And there are streams where one, either just there aren't very many people there, and two, people just don't talk as much on Twitch as they do on YouTube. I think, you know, YouTube, I don't know what it is. For me personally, I stream shorter amount of time on YouTube. So usually people are there, they're active, they know that this is a limited time thing. On Twitch, you're streaming for like 4 or 5 plus hours and people are kind of just watching it. They're just watching it to be entertained. They might have it on their TV. They may be multitasking. It might be something in the background. So people aren't as chatty. So I can totally relate with not knowing what to do when you're just kind of talking to yourself. So you're just gonna have to like power through it. It's a muscle that gets stronger as you do it. I always recommend treat any live stream like you're creating a video. So it's a lot easier to kind of, instead of, if you don't have an audience to talk to your future audience, talk to the audience that might be seeing the video later on. Talk about what you're doing. If you really need like support, try to find like friends or people that you can talk to while doing whatever it is that you're doing. So if you're gaming, of course, try to go into a lobby where you can talk to other people. If you're in Second Life, try to go to an area where you're going to be around other people to speak with. If you're like cooking or something, try to have a friend in the room. I've even seen people that make like makeup videos. They have a friend on FaceTime that they can talk to if they just like, if things get dry. It really is a strange, interesting skill to develop, to be able to talk to a camera, and it's something that you're just going to get better with naturally. Like if I couldn't even imagine doing what I'm doing right now a year ago. Like there's no way I would have ever thought that I could not be doing multiple things at once. Like you guys know, all my old videos, if I was ever talking to the camera, I was at least doing makeup. Like I had something to occupy myself. It really is just a skill that you'll have to learn, but it's one of those things that you learn by doing it. So treat it like you're filming a video. Try to get some friends around you if you can. And then just the more comfortable and relaxed and entertaining or entertained you seem, you'll notice that your audience will just kind of naturally grow. And then another thing that I don't know if this is just me, but I always have so much energy after a stream. Like I genuinely think something about live streaming is like an adrenaline rush. Like I could be exhausted going into it, like not even want to stream because I'm so tired. And by the end of that stream, I'm like buzzing like mad. You know, hopefully if it's something that you're really passionate about and love doing, you'll find that energy and that like excitedness that you know, is contagious and people kind of want to stick around for. I found that that's really helped me, that I think people just have fun when we're in a stream. I'm having fun. We're doing like random things. Half the time we're not even doing anything interesting. It's so funny because I've looked at streams before and I'm like, this can't possibly be interesting. And then I like watched the stream afterwards and I'm like, we did have fun. Like, I don't know how, but we did. My third tip is to, you're going to have to promote yourself. It's so funny because recently I've been kind of reflecting on the past year or so. When it came to streaming or being on YouTube and all of that, I slowed down significantly in 2021. Like, I had a bunch of personal stuff going on and I can't even blame it on the personal stuff. I literally think I stood in my own way this year. And it's so funny because I've heard that expression so many times and I was always like, that doesn't apply to me. Like, I don't do that. I work hard. I'm consistent. I put effort into this. So I was like, I'm not standing in my own way. How could I possibly be standing in my own way? But what's weird is I think I always just had this weird fear of just like a lot of exposure or a lot of people finding me or finding my content and maybe it wasn't for them. And honestly, I didn't even realize I had that fear until I had a video go viral on TikTok. And it's so funny because the thing that I always feared, like a bunch of people finding me who didn't necessarily like, they weren't here from the beginning. They weren't growing with me. They weren't getting to know me like other people were. They weren't a part of this community. I didn't know if they were into my content. I didn't know if they were my correct viewer. Like, for some reason, that gave me so much anxiety that I pumped the brakes in 2021. Like, I slowed down when I started to see myself growing faster than I expected. And it was so counterproductive because, you know, we all want to grow on these platforms. And I was like, why am I even doing this? You kind of just have to get out of your own way. And you have to welcome the growth that is possible. And literally it was not until recently, like that video happened a couple of weeks ago, so I'm only brand new into this thought process that, you know, we're here to grow. You're here to kind of put yourself out there and a lot of people are going to find you and they're not all going to be your audience. But you know, the more you do this, the more or the easier it gets to find your audience, and you have to be out there so they can find you. So that's the one piece of advice. Like, do not be afraid to kind of show up and show off. Like I told you, I wasn't even posting on Facebook that I was going live. There were just so many times that it seemed like I was hiding. For whatever reason, I found it cringy in the beginning. Like, I didn't even want people to know I was doing this. Like, I don't know why, because it's something that I really enjoy doing. It's something I have fun with. It's something that I enjoy with you guys. So I don't know why I was hiding it. I have a beverage? Jeez. And since we're kind of on the topic of fear, I think this was something I was so nervous of in the beginning, because all you hear about is anytime that you're putting yourself out there on the internet, like, you should expect trolls, you should expect negative comments, you should expect assholes. And I can honestly say it's not as intense as I thought it was going to be. Like, I really thought it was going to be the worst thing ever. I thought people were going to be so mean, but the one great thing when you're starting off, you're honestly starting with, like, you're finding your community a little easier. You're not as, like, widely accessible as some of these people who are huge, right? Because that's what I used to look at. I used to look at, like, comments on YouTube videos that I watched. And I'm like, gosh, people on YouTube are fucking mean. Like, people are so mean. But you have to think about, like, who your initial audience is. You're going to be connecting with, like, friends and family first. They're probably going to be the ones watching you, or they're friends of friends, or they're people that are somehow very much related to whatever it is that you're doing. It's going to be a small community at first, and there aren't going to be that many assholes in your small community. The more you grow and the more exposure you get, you could potentially get there. But even where I'm at right now, I don't experience that. A lot of the people that comment or spend their time on my videos or, you know, share things are people that have been supporters, that have been with me along this ride, been on this ride along with me this entire time. And a lot of them, like, I recognize their names. Those are the people that are commenting right now. You know, I don't know what the future holds or what happens when you get to like 50,000 or 100,000. You know, the pool of people is bigger, so there's the probability of more assholes existing is larger. But when you're starting off, it's not necessarily that. Like, you might get a couple of troll comments here or there. Like, even now, I haven't had one for weeks. When I first started, the only type of negative comments I was getting was talking about my videos being too long because people didn't know what a stream was. But there wasn't that much. And, like, to be honest, if you're a Second Life resident or user, you have very likely dealt with more shit talking in Second Life than you will when you start streaming. And then finally, my last bit of advice is to really, one, you have so much possibility to experiment with. Like, you can experiment with your content, figure out what you want to stream about, change it up often, however much you need. Only thing I would say is like really commit to creating and really commit to streaming. So in the beginning, you're going to be testing a lot of things out. You're going to test out like how long you like to stream, when you like to stream, what days, what hours. Figure all that about yourself. Don't try to chase other people. Like, don't look at a stream of someone similar and try to go after what time and day they post thinking you're going to pull the same audience. It has to be very natural and comfortable for you so you can start building your crowd based on what works for you. Because if you try to like go against the grain and just like go where you think the numbers are, you're going to end up burned out, and it's just not going to work naturally for you. So go with what's natural. Experiment in the beginning with all of that type of stuff. Experiment with like the content that you want to stream, and then start to develop some sort of routine or schedule. The more consistent you are, especially on YouTube, in terms of going live like the same day and time, the better your numbers and your analytics are going to look after, you know, you really start to tighten that up. So I would say really commit to it. It's a hobby, but it's one of those hobbies that I would treat it like a sport. Like when you were in high school, you had to go to practice XYZ days for a certain amount of hours. Treat streaming the same way. My first year of streaming, I went live every single Sunday and Wednesday for an hour. In the beginning, that didn't require much because like I said, I was just like hopping on my laptop and figuring shit out as I went along. The more I got into it, then it became a thing of like setting up lighting and setting up different scenes and then taking thumbnail photos and taking real life photos. Like, it became a different story, but because it works with my schedule, like, it's fine, and it's been the schedule that I've had since the beginning. You know, change it up as you need to, but really get disciplined as you can, and do not be afraid to experiment. Don't think that you have to have it planned out from the beginning, because I promise you, whatever your initial plan is going in, it's going to change once you get hit with the reality of what you're doing. Spend all the time you need figuring that out, and then once you get it, and once you get like a set, your like golden schedule, stick to it for at least a couple of months, and you'll start to see some serious traction. I'm winded. I'll be forgetting to breathe. But anyway, guys, that's all I have for you. I hope this has been useful. I hope if you're thinking about streaming, you feel a little better about like just diving into it. I hope the tips have been helpful. If you do like videos like this, please let me know in the comments. Of course, you guys know we're gonna be talking about YouTube stuff all the time. Comments help tremendously. So if you have a moment, please consider dropping a like and commenting and subscribing if you haven't, por favor. But I'm hoping to do more videos like this. Next time I want to dive into some of the like logistical things and the things that you need when it comes to streaming. So I will see you guys very soon. I will see you guys very soon. Thanks for joining. Bye. That was corny. All right, so thanks so much for watching and listening, and I will see you guys in the next one. My audio better have worked. I talked so damn much.
Just the other day, saw you looking my way.